Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'm Professor Michael and you're watching Kini News, the show that brings you today's biggest stories. A new strain of coronavirus which originated from Wuhan in China is getting closer to Malaysia. There are already several confirmed cases in Singapore. Singapore confirmed 2 more cases of a new strand of coronavirus today, just a day after identifying its first case of the infection that originated from China. This means as of Friday evening, the island nation had a total of 3 confirmed cases. Singapore's health ministry said it expected more imported cases because of the high travel volume from China. In Malaysia, the Ministry of Health revealed that all 4 suspected coronavirus patients have tested negative. Despite this, Malaysians entering Singapore via land routes will undergo temperature screenings at the city-states, Woodlands and Tuas checkpoints starting Friday afternoon. On its website, Singapore Immigration and Checkpoints Authority said travellers arriving at the land checkpoints will have to undergo temperature screenings conducted by on-site healthcare assistants. The new coronavirus appears to be spreading with more confirmed cases and an increasing death toll, with more countries being involved. 25 people have been killed in China and more than 800 have been infected by a new coronavirus which originated from Wuhan late last year. Though the situation appears to be worsening, the World Health Organization said the situation does not yet constitute an international emergency, as it was tracking its evolution every minute. While the WHO adopts a wait-and-see approach to the outbreak, health officials speaking to the World Economic Forum in Switzerland cautioned that while the illness appears to be less fatal than the recent SARS virus, it could be more contagious.
10% of people died in SARS. I suspect the mortality rate with this infection will be lower than that as it spreads to a much wider population. So what we have is a broader infection with probably a less marked number of people, percentage of people dying. But that, in some ways, from a public health perspective, is harder to deal with.
China has imposed unprecedented measures to control the newly identified coronavirus. Most public transport in the city of Wuhan, with a population of 11 million, was suspended on Thursday, and people were told not to leave. Video obtained by Reuters show empty market stalls where people have been panic buying and rushing to stock up on supplies. There is no vaccine for the virus, which can spread through respiratory transmission. Symptoms include fever, difficulty breathing, and coughing. Most of the cases are in Wuhan. The casualties so far are mostly older men with existing health problems. Imagine producing a movie about someone and end up being sued by the same person. Maybe someone should make a movie about that. The real-life Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort, has sued Red Granite for $300 million for fraud and breach of contract. Belfort is the inspiration behind the Wolf of Wall Street, and his character was played by Leonardo DiCaprio in the movie. In 2011, Belfort sold the rights to his memoir to the production company co-founded by former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak's stepson, Riza Aziz. However, Belfort said he wouldn't have sold the rights to the producer if he knew the film was funded with dirty money. This was reported by The Hollywood Reporter. The complaint, filed on January 23rd, stated that the rights were purchased and the film was funded with cash from 1MDB. Belfort said due to legal actions and settlements taken against the scandal-ridden company, as well as controversial financier Jolo, Red Granite is said to have been scared to further monetize the rights, and this led Belfort to ask the California federal judge to void their contract. We've all seen The Return of the Jedi and The Return of the King, true pop culture classics really, but are you ready for the return of Utusan? Utusan Malaysia, the nation's oldest Malay language newspaper, is on its way back to newsstands near you after it was forced to close down last year due to financial problems. This comes after the Utusan online Facebook page posted 2 days ago that the newspaper company's owner, Media Mulia Sendirian Berhad, is seeking candidates to take up positions as editors, reporters, creative writers and photographers. Media Mulia is purportedly linked to Tycoon Said Mokhtar Al-Bukhari, whose company Aurora Mulia owns shares in Media Prima Berhad. NUJ Utusan Branch Secretary Muhammad Bashir Abu Bakar confirmed Utusan Malaysia's return when contacted. He said the newspaper may start its operation as early as May, but there are no instructions yet for former employees to return. Utusan Malaysia's new office will be at the New Straits Times press headquarters in Bangsa. Running 7 kilometers is not necessarily an easy task. This is why, if the next story does not inspire you, nothing will. 13-year-old Haikal McHale Anwar completed a cross-country run organised by his school SMK Muazzam Shah in Pahang on January 17th on just one leg and crutches. When the race ended, Haikal came in last place, but for everyone present, he was the true winner that day. Haikal, a former bone cancer patient, had part of his leg amputated at the age of 6. His father, Anwar Abbas, said that since then, Haikal has been thought to be self-reliant. He also said that since he was in primary school, Haikal, who is the fourth of 5 siblings, has been highly motivated. According to his teacher, Haikal doesn't seem to let obstacles stop him from doing what he wants to do. He is active and has also been involved with football, biking and swimming under the supervision of school teachers. Soon it'll be that time of the year again. You know, the time you file your taxes. But don't worry, if some parts are confusing, the Inland Revenue Board wants to help Malaysians understand the whole process better. Want to know more about the processes involved in income tax administration? The Inland Revenue Board has now made it more accessible with the launch of the Taxpayer Roadmap, which is available for download on the agency's official website. The guide will contain a summary of IRB's procedures and processes in terms of tax law, audit process, appeal, collection and litigation procedures. The Taxpayer Roadmap, launched by Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng, will also be available at IRB service counters. In a statement, the IRB said the roadmap was developed to assure and enhance taxpayer confidence on the transparency of every action taken by the agency. Coming up next, US Democrats huff and puff in the Senate as they try to blow Trump out of the White House. More tragedy in Australia. Glimmer of hope for the Rohingya people? All that and more after this. Democrats are hard at work at the Senate arguing their case on why President Donald Trump should be removed from office. Let's see how they're doing.
This conduct is not America first. It is Donald Trump first.
House Democrats on Thursday opened their second day of arguments in U.S. President Donald Trump's Senate impeachment trial by drilling down on abuse of power, one of the 2 charges against Trump. Representative Gerald Nadler argued that a president can abuse his power without having committed a crime, a point he said was made by none other than Trump attorney Alan Dershowitz back in 1998. Trump is accused of abusing his power by withholding millions of dollars in aid to Ukraine and preventing Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky from coming to the White House until Zelensky agreed to announce an investigation into Trump's political rival Joe Biden. No investigation was ever announced. Nadler called Trump's alleged pressure campaign a, quote, unprecedented betrayal of the national interest.
He poses a continuing threat to our nation, to the integrity of our elections, to our democratic order. He must not remain in power one moment longer.
Trump has denied any wrongdoing. House Democrats have one more day to argue their case. Trump's attorneys will then have 3 days for a rebuttal. Tragedy on top of tragedy. Australian bushfires did not need to bring more bad news, but a plane fighting the fires crashed, killing all on board. A Canadian-owned C-130 Hercules air tanker crashed while fighting bushfires in Australia's Alpine region on Thursday, killing all 3 of its crew. The aircraft was carrying fire retardant when it went down in the snowy Monaro area. The victims were American residents. Australian authorities said they did not immediately know why the plane crashed. A spokesperson for Australia's Civil Aviation Safety Authority said the aircraft went into a valley to drop retardant and it did not emerge. The death toll now stands at 32. 1 billion animals are also estimated to have perished as the fires incinerated 2,500 homes and a total area of bushland, 1/3 the size of Germany. A glimmer of hope for the Muslim Rohingyas, but not from Myanmar itself, but from the International Court of Justice in Netherlands.
The International Court of Justice has ordered Myanmar to take urgent measures to protect its Muslim Rohingya population from persecution and atrocities and preserve evidence of alleged crimes against them. Thursday's court ruling came after the mostly Muslim Gambia launched a lawsuit in November at the UN's highest body for disputes between states. It accused Myanmar of genocide against Rohingya in violation of a 1948 convention.
It is concluded on reasonable grounds that the Rohingya people remain at serious risk of genocide under the terms of the Genocide Convention.
This comes after more than 730,000 Rohingya fled Myanmar after a military-led crackdown in 2017. The world's court rulings are final and without appeal, but it has no real way of enforcing them. More than 100 Myanmar civil society groups published a statement saying they hope international justice efforts would bring forth the truth and end impunity.
And here are several other news highlights from today. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news update. I'll see you next week. I'm McHale. Thank you for watching. And also, Happy Chinese New Year. Before we go, take a look at the Venice International Airport in Italy. They're feeling a bit festive.